leading the Steelers to 4-2, Justin Fields was scratched from QB1 last week as veteran Russell Wilson returned to the lineup after battling injuries. Last week, Stephen A. and Dan had huge disagreement on whether or not Russ would get the start. Take a listen.
Russell Wilson's not an option at this particular moment in time. But once he becomes available, it's nothing wrong with seeing what he can give you.
I don't think Russell's going to do anything significantly greater than Justin has and can to elevate the offense.
I'm saying, what's the problem with experimenting with a veteran that you had every intentions of starting?
It's a mistake. I don't believe that Russell's going to step in and do anything that Justin hasn't shown to do this year.
Justin Fields, did you really do enough for us to say, we ain't interested in even seeing anybody else? We know who you are.
Yeah.
No, we haven't.
Crowd on their feet here, waving the towels, cheering on their Steelers, who gave a thrashing to the New York Jets.
This dude was arguing with me last week. Text him last night at midnight regarding my Steelers as a starter. Wilson, you were saying something. You got one right in 3 years. Relax.
Wow.
He's never come at me like that.
Dan?
Dude, he was right. But like I said, you got one right. Let's clap it up for Stephen A. You got one right. You got one right, you know? Let's clap it up. I also told him relax.
I'm just saying that you were very, very acerbic and very, very, I was very surprised that you came at me that way. You usually are very fun-loving and what have you, but you came right back at me trying to hit me because you were very upset at my being right now. We can lie and talk about it's the first time I've been right in 3 years. We can tell that lie. We'll live with that lie. I'll take it. It doesn't matter. But the point is, Dan Orlovsky, that I was having fun thinking about texting you while you were probably asleep with your pajamas and all of this other stuff. I was having a good time, and I did not expect you to come across so harshly. You really seemed a bit perturbed, if I should say so myself.
Accurate.
Dan hates being wrong.
I hate being wrong.
Dan is like competitive over everything in life.
100%. I hate being wrong. I hate being wrong too. I have said multiple times, there's not a lot in life right now that makes me more happy than being right when it comes to against you.
All right, let me push this forward. Mina, let me get you in here. Which AFC North team?
I thought I was going to skate on this segment. I thought nobody was going to point that out.
She wasn't right either, Molly.
I was sitting here with my mouth shut, smiling, laughing. I somehow didn't get included in those flashbacks. I was loving it.
That's right. I was waiting for
Mina
to come through. She was right there with Dan.
Damn.
We saved you.
I like being right.
All right, we can pull that graphic back up, guys.
Dan,
Which AFC North team, Mina, are you more confident in? Is it Cincinnati or Pittsburgh? And obviously you can see the standings right there.
Yeah, so as somebody who was equally wrong to Dan Orlovsky about the Fields versus Wilson decision, shall we say, I'm with the Steelers here, in part because of what we saw, but in larger part because I think that defense gives them a floor that Cincinnati simply doesn't have. Cincinnati, for them to win games, and they're obviously in a hole that they have to climb out of, Joe Burrow and this offense basically have to be flawless. That's the degree of confidence or lack thereof I have in the defense. Whereas with Pittsburgh, because this defense is so good, this pass rush is so fearsome, they're so good against the run, the offense only really needs to be competent, frankly, and they exceeded that, right? And I expect them to do so again against the New York Giants. I think they're the most balanced football team. I think they have the better roster. I have a ton of faith in the coach, faith that has only grown since he made that very difficult decision. So it's Pittsburgh for me, even if I think Cincinnati might have a higher ceiling because of the quarterback.
Go ahead, Orlovsky.
It's Cincinnati for me. Okay, number one, I believe in the offense, and I believe the offense can outscore. Their schedule's not that tough. And if we're just look at the Bengals, again, I know people don't like to pay attention to how games happen, but what kind of team you are, I believe, matters in that. You have the loss to Cincinnati, or excuse me, you have the loss on the late field goal. You have the loss on the pass interference. You have the loss on the Jaden Daniels touchdown to Washington. So 3 out of your 4 losses are last play of the game. Now, yeah, I understand they're losses, but they've played good football and they've lost to good football teams on basically the last play of the game. I think the game this weekend is absolutely enormous versus Philadelphia because if they beat Philadelphia, they really only have 2 teams left on their schedule, MK, that are really good offenses. And that would be Baltimore and really Philly. Other than that, like they're going to play Pittsburgh twice still, maybe the Chargers, but we got to see if they trade for a wide receiver. I just think the defense is playing a little better. Burrow is playing unbelievable football. He's an MVP candidate for me, and I think that's a little bit of a foreshadowing because I think they're going to win a little bit more. Russell played well. I don't think teams are going to play George Pickens in one-on-one with a lot of backup corners that much for the rest of the season.
Been a little shade in there. You got that?
That's just his emotions talking. That's just his emotions. He doesn't want to be wrong again. And I understand where he's coming from, but get used to it. You know, it's going to happen. It's going to happen again, Dan. It's going to happen. Yes, you are. Yes, you do get emotional, Dan. You absolutely do. You got emotion with the text, with the tweet. I mean, you did. You did. You just did. But here's the deal. The Cincinnati Bengals are elite offensively. We know what Joe Burrow brings to the table. Higgins being back, along with Jamar Chase balling the way that he's been balling with his $50 million insurance policy. I'm going to keep bringing that up to remind everybody how cheap Mike Brown is, the owner of the Cincinnati Bengals. In the end, what it comes down to is that the Bengals don't have a defense you can trust or rely upon. The Steelers do. This is the 8th-ranked defense in the National Football League, 2nd in scoring defense, okay? 4th in red zone defense. That's what we're talking about when we talk about these Pittsburgh Steelers, okay? So you can bring up the offense, but what kind of defense are you going to be going up against? It's not just about Cincinnati being able to score points whenever they want to. It's about them needing to be able to stop someone, and ultimately making sure that they don't get stopped. And in the end, when you're going up against elite defenses, it's not about holding them to under 30 or anything like that. It's about being able to make stops when you need to most. Can you put yourself in a position where you can pull something like that off? The Steelers have proven they can. The Bengals still leave a lot to be desired. Mina, one last point. And I've said this publicly, and I'll say it again. There needs to be an investigation into Coach Zach Taylor. What the hell are you doing in the offseason that your team is never ready for the month of September? Now, beyond that, October and beyond, they ball.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow balls. Yeah. But the month of September, religiously, his team takes the first month off. What the hell are you doing in the offseason, OTAs, training camp, preseason? Yeah. What the hell is going on? What is Zach? There needs to be an investigation of what he's doing because he ain't working.
It's a fair question because we actually had, healthy Joe Burrow this year. And Dan, in his recounting of the Bengals schedule, he said they lost to good teams. Are the New England Patriots a good team?
No.
Because that was week one.
That was week one.
Okay, does week one not count?
No,
I'm
it
sorry.
counts, but let's...
Is it on record? Is it on record? Is it an L on the record?
Mina, do not stoop to that level.
It's an L.
Do not stoop to that level.
But I say that mostly about the defense because the defense has played better, but Dan has been against substandard competition.
I
for
agree.
Sure. I do not believe that unit has turned around. Yeah, I mean, some players come back. B.J. Hill, Sheldon Rank is playing well.
Well, I am glad that Coach got the game ball week one. They ain't won.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Stephen A. Because you're bringing up the Steelers defense. Who's the best quarterback they've played?
Who's the hottest quarterback the Steelers have played?
Steelers. Let me give you the Steelers quarterbacks that this defense that has played. I agree, but they played Kirk Cousins week one when everyone knows the offensive plan was horrific. Okay, then they played Denver week 2, rookie. They played the Chargers week 3 when Justin Herbert was hurt. He
was there in the third quarter. But
no, he wasn't. He was there.
Yes, he was. He got hurt in the third quarter. He left in the third quarter.
The first drive, he was playing with a high ankle sprain. Come on. The fourth game they played against Joe Flacco, and he lit him up. Then Dak Prescott. Then I think they played either Minshew or Aiden O'Connell, and then Aaron Rodgers. This is who they're going to get in the next 5 or 6 weeks. They're going to get Jaden Daniels. They're going to get Lamar Jackson twice. They're going to get Joe Burrow. Let's see how good.
But you do know when we're talking about the AFC North, even when the Steelers are substandard, which is almost never, by the way, so I should use that word when it comes to them. But the point is, the AFC North is religiously tough. They go after
Of course.
The Bengals have to play Lamar Jackson, too. I don't know why he's mentioning them. Dan, I don't know. I heard from you for quite some time on this show that Aaron Rodgers is still an elite quarterback. So they're not getting credit for beating the elite Aaron Rodgers, the transformed Jets offense with Devontae Adams. It feels like they should deserve a little bit of credit for that.
You and Stephen A. are taking I was wrong on Aaron Rodgers in my expectation of how I thought he would play this year.
Yeah.
Oh, so you were wrong again.
Okay, all right. Okay. Dan, let me leave you with this. Because I know you were baffled.
That's what I want to do right now. Peace. Go ahead.
It's okay. It's okay. I know you were baffled earlier by that stat that Stephen A. shared with us. Kyle Shanahan, the San Francisco 49ers, 0-40 when trailing by at least 8. The Bengals, 0-48 in that situation.